guys, welcome back to Dead Money Trade. Today we got a little bit of a scare, and we kept selling off into the close. What happened today? So we talked about yesterday the continuing buy the dip on SPY, what could possibly be some things that could play out, and we got one of those today. These things are happening really quick. We got a nice gap up. Nice gap up. Um, Opened pretty high, got up to 523. We made a slightly higher high, but lower than our previous all-time high. And then we got like a triple news event, is what I'm thinking happened. Um, Before we get into the technicals, I think three things led to this sell-off. The first one is oil. Oil started increasing in price. Um, there's a lot of reasons for this, namely the Middle East tensions, the war in Gaza, Ukraine, and some this affects the economy because when oil prices are higher, it means that inflation could be harder to tick down. Um, you also have the SPR that President Brandon drained and needs to be filled up. So that's going to make it a little bit harder for the U.S. to fill up their SPR. What also happened was a Fed president, Neil Kashkari, came on CNBC and said, you know, we might not need to cut rates this year, which kind of strange because um, Jerome Powell literally just said last week that rate cuts would still be a possibility for this year. So I want to take too much what he says, Kashkari, because he has kind of been the Fed bear recently. Um, and then the third thing that I think maybe played a slight role is Anthony Blinken said that Ukraine will become a NATO member. And this would be kind of scary because if Ukraine was to become a NATO member and Russia attacked Ukraine like it has been doing the last 2 years, well, that would drag NATO into maybe a full-fledged war with Russia, where right now it's kind of been a proxy war. So, uh, some possible news catalysts that causes sell-off, but ultimately, you could just look at the chart and see the bearish price action. Now, like we said, we put in a lower high and sold off quite a bit. I really don't think a higher high on the SP 500 is going to be a possibility for at least a couple weeks. This has also been the first sell signal on the daily. By sell signal, I mean here we have this RSI indicator. The RSI flashes red when, sorry, with this, the bar color will turn red when the RSI dips below 50. This could be considered a sell signal. Okay, and we haven't had a sell signal on the daily since last year. Okay, this has actually been our first sell signal on the daily. All right, now, um, these red bars you're seeing here was from a price coming up from below, or RSI coming up from below and entering the bullish control zone, coming out of the bearish control zone. But this is coming from above going down. So let's kind of look what happened last time. So last time we got a sell signal from coming from above was August 4th, 2023. It's quite a while ago. And when that happened, from open to close, or open to the bottom, it was about an 8% or 9% drop. And this took almost 3 months to play out. Now, we have dropped, if you can see this bar, this daily bar up here, is a lot bigger than what happened in August. There's a little bit more of a slow sell-off. Another thing that's kind of concerning is that this red bar, if I turn off the RSI signal, is a bearish engulfing candle, and it is engulfing pretty much all the candlesticks up to March 19th. So like the last 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half of price action has been bearishly engulfed with this candle. Now, that doesn't mean tomorrow we're going to sell off another 1%. I think more likely what would happen is maybe tomorrow is kind of a sideways day. Monday we get a relief, maybe retrace 50% of this bar, um, maybe even get another test or a lower high. Let's go on a smaller time frame. Maybe even get, test maybe this 520 level and then make a lower high and continue to sell off. Now, why is that 9% number kind of interesting? In our last video, we talked about perhaps a buying opportunity if we get down to the 480 level. Why is the 480 level interesting? Well, that is the previous all-time high on SPY. So maybe this level could act as support. But honestly, I don't even know if it's going to get all the way down here. Maybe if you look at the RSI here, it kind of seldom goes under the 30. Kind of seldom is oversold. So if we can get to a 30 RSI before this 480 level, that might be a buying opportunity. 500 could also be a support level. From here, let's look at this. So from here to 500, that would be 2.5%. To 480, that would be 6% more. This would take some time to play out. Okay, so I think we are going to get some sideways chop to down in the next few weeks. We were just talking about the possibility of a correction. If we go back to the daily, we could see RSI negative bearish divergence on the RSI, and it kind of just played out today. Now, this could have flushed out the divergence, so I could be wrong. I'm not really too biased one way or another. I guess I'm kind of hoping that it does come down lower so that for a buying opportunity, although that might not have good consequences for Bitcoin, but we'll look at Bitcoin and see that it was kind of resilient today. But yeah, so that's kind of my short-term thoughts. Short-term, I think we get maybe 3% more downside, but I think that's going to take a little while. I think we're going to see some little bit of sideways relief, maybe some a little bit more of a slow down, and then whether we bounce in the 500 region or need to keep going and need some more support down here. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Okay, now I would honestly be happy and fine with if we just tomorrow it just boom, all-time high again, or a little bit of sideways chop and then all-time high again, because the sentiment really changed fast today. People are already kind of clamoring around the idea that it's time for a sell-off. Another thing we can look at is the VIX. It's the first time for us to look on this at this on the channel. It was down 3% today, and then is now up like 14%. One thing about this is it has been kind of in a range that it hasn't been really been able to break out of this range. So volatility has been sold. For the last year, it's anytime we get a pop in volatility, it's been sold off. So that could happen again this time. Could just sell off, or maybe it finds support and eventually comes back up. But I don't think we break 22. I don't think it gets. I don't think it gets Armageddon level. Unless things get really crazy. in the political tensions, war tensions that we're seeing. And even then, we've seen that two wars happened since like what 2022, 2021, and the stock market's been able to rally. So we'll just have to see. Um, we're still quite a bit of ways from June. I believe we have CPI next week, which will be inflation data, and you know it might be bullish because if CPI is showing decreasing inflation, it's been bullish for the stock market, but the market will react to it how it wants to react to it. It doesn't have to be rational. Um, but yeah, news catalysts have been bullish for the SPY, except for today. So news can be bullish until it's not, and these things can. Life comes at you fast. Uh, so that is our SPY update. Um, I think for today, I just want to jump over to Bitcoin. Uh, Bitcoin did well today. It rallied up 3% right now. How many hours? We have 30 minutes till the close, and it looks like we're going to close green on the day. Um, it got as far as a 6% gain. Right now it's like 3.5. Um, what does this look like? To me, this looks pretty good. We haven't even got positive on the histogram yet. So I think once the daily histogram turns green, that's going to be kind of like off to the races kind of thing. People are thinking the halving is going to be a sell the news event, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be like that this year. It has been in the past, but it's just been so strong. And I mean, the fact that today uh, it held like that that S&P 500 sell-off started around uh, 1 o'clock, and you can see like it did kind of come down, but it it didn't sell off as nearly as maybe you'd expect it to. Um, so I don't know. This looks good to me. It might even be putting in a higher low, but could also be putting in a lower high on the hourly. So um, we did finally turn green on the 4-hour histogram, so that's good. This to me shows that we still have positive momentum. I think we could at least get back up to 71, maybe even clear 71, 72. Uh, but if that happens, I really hope it would make new all-time highs. Because if it doesn't make new all-time highs, then it's going to sell off again. It's going to sell off again. Uh, but that could still be a good thing if it makes another high or low, like it has recently, right? So what we want to see for bullish continuation is higher low, higher low, higher low. So maybe we get something like this where it comes up, sells off again, makes another higher low, and then it's off to the races to the upside. So I think we're going to leave it at that today. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any tickers you'd like me to look at. Stay safe out there. Best of luck, and may your trading be fruitful.